The bat swinging, the ball's flying through the air, stumps crashing, it's a cricket affair. Get ready to groove, time to make some noise. Cricket podcast, we're here to fill the void. In the stadium, the crowd's going wild, the energy's high just like a child. We're here to bring you all the latest cricket news with electronic beats. We'll show you the news.
Welcome to the Legends and Lads podcast, formerly known as the Atomic Cricket Podcast. I'm Maitreya, your host for this episode. Unfortunately, Thiru could not join us today, but we have Rakesh sir with us. So, straight away, Rakesh sir, with the Tata IPL 2024 coming to an end, can you tell us your opinion on how this edition of IPL stands out compared to the previous editions?
Uh, See, first of all, this IPL edition had a lot of a lot of new things happening there because this is the first time a team with 14 points in a 10-team league has actually made it to the playoffs. Then you had scores of 200. Never before so many times teams scored 200 and even chased down 200 plus scores. And of course, a lot of new things, a lot of young guys around, and some of the oldies did very well. Great to see the Indians do very well, because I've always maintained that when we talk about IPL, it is the you can't win IPL only with overseas individuals, because after all there are only four people there, but seven of the playing members are your homegrown individuals. So it's very important that they contribute. And a lot of teams, if you see, the Indian talent was there to see. And that is what, for me, was a standout point, that this time, of course, it was exciting. Leave out the last match, where the trophy was decided. I think most of the matches in the league were very, very exciting, and great to see the participation of the individuals in every single center. The way they rallied around, they all were there, rain or shine, they were there. So the crowd participation, which makes any league around the world, and it's great to see that we still haven't reached that kind of a saturation level, where people don't come and watch the matches starting in the afternoon. Even some of the afternoon games I saw, it was almost houseful. So great to see that.
Yes, sir. So now coming to the IPL final. So the IPL final may not be a thriller, but we saw a complete dominance from the Kolkata Knight Riders, but
Yeah.
lackluster performance from this SRH. So, what are the key moments, according to you, that determine the outcome of that match?
See, first of all, if you lose two wickets in the first two overs, that means you are, without the openers, inside the power play itself. Then you lose a third one. And see, this team, even when they had a situation where Travis Head did not score a single run, he got out for a duck. The team went out to post 200. So these guys are capable because they bat deep, and of course, when you lose those early wickets where the top order fails, and with Stark coming and striking twice in his opening spell. Um, for me, the turning point was, the kind of scoring that was there between the 7th and the 15th over. You score 50 runs and you lose five wickets. I mean, from 40 in 6 overs to 90 for 8 after 15. I mean, you're already. I mean, that match is over. Even the team which is trying to score something of the last 5 overs, they know that they're not reaching a target from where they can actually compete. And the same thing happened when SRH was fielding. When these guys came around and they started smashing it, after a point, SRH just gave up. You knew that the match was over much before the last ball was bowled. Uh, Again, you have to give credit to the KKR outfit. Those 11 individuals out there make it, like 12. including the impact sub. Uh, what they did was consistently they put their hand up so on so many occasions. It's like if the top half is not doing it, the lower half will come and do it. In the middle overs, the spinners came and they did their job. Like like Narayan and Chakravarti, they were absolutely brilliant. I mean, and these two guys are. I mean, and they had individuals like like Narayan, of course, could score at a blistering pace, but you also had people like Russell and Venkatesh Iyer, these two who could bowl and they could come and bat beautifully. So they had contributors at all levels and they had great options when it came to defending a total. So I think overall everything just worked. But a word for SRH here because SRH, the difference between SRH and KKR wasn't as much as it was reflected in the final match. Although SRH and KKR went, like they faced each other twice in the playoffs, and KKR to reach the final beat SRH to lift the trophy. They beat SRH, so it was like a domination of one team over the other. But then overall, I've always felt that this particular IPL was KKR's from a very, very, very early phase. Leave out that phase when RR was doing well, but once KKR took over the top spot, they played like champions, and they had performers. They had like match winners who could be anywhere. I mean, between say the top five names which you normally see and an additional three names, so up to eight people could just put their hand up from the playing 11 and help the team or take the team across the line. So it was quite an overwhelming performance by KKR, and that's the reason why they won and they won so comfortably.
Yes, sir. So I think that attitude, right from the start, their eyes were on the cup and nothing else. So I think that's what got them there. And now coming to Mitchell Stark. So Mitchell Stark was a talk of the town during the auction, but during the league stages he underperformed. But
Mm.
however, in the playoffs, he proved his worth. He played those important spells in the qualifier run and the finals.
Yeah.
So your take on Stark's performance this season?
Maitreya, I think he was very ordinary. Somebody who's been paid 24.75 crores to be there. And of course, he did well whenever he did well, but it is just because that the team won. We are not talking much about the guy who is the highest paid player in the history of IPL. But I think if you look at Stark and if you look at Cummins, both these guys, one was paid 20.5, which was obviously more than the first prize of the IPL. And if you put together the amount which these two guys got on the day of the auction, that is only 25 lakhs less than the entire prize fund of this year's IPL. So you can imagine 46.5 is what the board offers, and 46.25 is what these two guys could have against their names. Just two Australians getting that kind of amount. But if you ask me the performance of Stark, I think he just came good and he was visible in the big games. Yes. But overall, if you ask me, number of wickets that he has taken, see 13, 15 wickets, I don't even count it because you'll have so many people taking as many wickets. But it is just because Stark went on to help the team win the trophy. Pat Cummins, another big, a guy who really went for big bucks. I'm just taking these two names together. I mean, because one team was led beautifully by SRH was led beautifully by Pat Cummins. So these two Aussies together did a very average job. But Pat Cummins was, I think, a notch higher because he led the team and he led the team well. And of course, in most of the matches, he was not even required to lead so well because they would outbat the opposition by putting such massive totals on the board. But overall, if you look at it, I think These guys did a fantastic job, but performance-wise, seriously, I don't think I'll remember it for any special reason.
Yes, sir. So now coming to the orange cap, and the orange cap has gone to Virat Kohli. So even though there were concerns about his strike rate, he brushed aside those issues, and he became the highest run getter for the second time. So what do you
Yeah.
think about Virat as a batter and the crucial role he's going to play in the upcoming T20 World Cup?
See, when you go into the World Cup with the kind of confidence that he's got now, I think you have to just give it to him. You just have to understand that he is a big match guy. He has the temperament to come good. And if he's got runs behind him, this is great news for India. Now, having said that, the kind of wickets that you are likely to get in the US, which are like drop in like wickets, there nobody knows how it is going to be. You can only gauge and guess, but you don't normally play on those kind of like wickets there. So there, if because the Indians are going early, they can really do a lot of stuff there. But for me, Virat's confidence and Virat's, for me, what is bigger is where does he get to play? Does he open or does he come at number three? And that is the question because he's got all these runs as an opener. And what we have seen is that he has pulled out a few shots now, which is brilliant because I saw him, you know, pull out the slog sweep against the spinners. And spinners, as you know, that the spinners have troubled him in the early phase of his innings quite consistently. So it'll be a done deal. Like a lot of people are going to put spinners if he decides to open. You will see spinners coming into the game as early as in the power play itself because Virat is opening. So they will all try to take that chance. But if Virat is ready with the kind of form that he is shown, then this is not, it won't be an issue. But I'm very, very happy that Virat has shown that form. He's looking good. And when it comes to World Cups, you know how motivated he is. He wants to give his best every single time. And that shows in his like demeanor, the way he walks into the field. Look at that kind of fire in his belly, fire in his eyes. You can actually feel it. So it's great when this guy has confidence. I mean, for any sportsman, when you are there with form, you are in great form, you are showing what you can do, and when the World Cup is just around the corner, I think that is definitely some great news there for India.
So then coming to the emerging player of the season. So as you have earlier said already, there are many emerging players, many youngsters coming up and rising to the occasion,
Yeah,
performing really well. But the award was given to Nitish Kumar Reddy.
yeah.
So what do you think, makes him stand out among all the others in the field?
Maitreya, for me, I think he is one of the potential all-rounders which India is so sorely like missing right now. Because our batters don't bowl, our bowlers don't bat. It is something that I've been maintaining for a long time. Now, if you can have somebody like Shivam Dubey doing that, and somebody like Nitish coming in the middle order, late in the middle order, because he can bat pretty well, he can strike that ball very, very well, and he can also give you those overs. And plus, he's a fantastic fielder. So I think it was a great choice. And this lad has it in him to actually break into the Indian team because Indians are looking for all rounders. That is where we sometimes we struggle, like what we saw in the World Cup last year, if you remember, the 50-50 over. I mean the 50 over like World Cup, where Indians had to go with four specialist bowlers. That means you can't have batting after number seven. If you have the option or the luxury of having, a few all rounders in your team, suddenly, if you need those runs with, say, four wickets in hand, the last four, imagine you are seven down and or the first seven guys are gone, you can still expect those last four people to stitch together 20 25 runs and take you across the line. But with the kind of lineup that we saw during the World Cup, if you lost early wickets, then the pressure on the middle order was enormous. So that is why I say somebody like Nitesh, somebody like uh, Dubey and stuff like that. I mean, like names like that, they can definitely do something for the country, because despite having more than 35 first class teams, we still don't get quality all rounders. And we keep saying there is a lot of talent and the bench strength looks great and all these things. When you pick the team and the selectors and the captain, they sit together, and when they want to choose the team, trust me, you know, you'll have at least 9 to 10 familiar names there. Maybe one guy will get in from somewhere. Otherwise, they will go with the trusted names, they will go with experience. So Nitish has it in him to make it, but he still has some way to go.
Yes, sir. Then this question is not about the IPL, but this is about the Champions League, a
Yeah,
tournament featuring the top teams from all the cricket leagues
yeah,
across the world.
yeah,
But it was last been played in 2014, and
yeah,
there have been many proposals to get the tournament back, but
yeah.
the BCCI is not interested as of now. But do you see any potential in this tournament if brought back?
See, it depends. It is just another product. It is a kind of stuff that has to be sold. But what happens is, with the leagues around the world, there are players who are playing in different leagues, and if the same guy is actually representing two teams, for example, this problem is not faced by Indians, but the Aussies will definitely, like they will have that issue. But more important is, why this league hasn't taken place in 10 years, because as you very rightly said, Indian board is not interested. Because what the Indian board has actually managed to do is they've got this close to 50-day window where they say that we are not going to play. And when the guys come and sign the contract after they've been chosen, after the IPL auction, they sign a contract with the board, not with the individual. Like even in this case, the ECB had signed, and they said that the players are going to play till the end, which they didn't do. They, all the England players who were part of the World Cup just flew out. So if that continues, then you are going to say that the board is going to say nothing doing. We are not interested, because if India is not interested, Champions Trophy will not happen. India is such a big player when it comes to organizing the league, and the kind of logistical know-how that Indians have, the kind of money that Indian franchisee owners have, or the corporate world has, and the kind of advertisement support. Just look at the digital platform and the kind of eyeballs it kind of attracts. So everything it revolves around India. Every other board is waiting that let it happen, and if we can get something out of it. But the point is that if you take a 50-day window for for, each year for IPL, and then maybe this will also go on for 15 to 20 days, because you can't have a league with a straight away. You can't say let's have it on a like a kind of a knockout format. That won't help. So you still need time. You need time. You will divide them into groups. You'll have a league knockout sort of thing. So that will also take time, but very difficult. Very difficult to accommodate, because the calendar is already fixed. The FTH is already. I mean, the FTS is already out. I mean FTP. Sorry. So what do? You got to put everything together and advance at least 3 years ahead, because FTPs are already out. So now you can't even have a window for a new tournament. So it's not easy, but will it have the same appeal? I really don't know, because 10 years ago, when Champions Trophy was happening, and India, in fact, hosted it, and I've covered that event, it is far, off IPL. IPL, draws people to the stands. They're very excited. But here it is one Indian team, and most of the games you will see being played like non-India sort of, like I mean, all those clashes, you won't see people really showing much interest. So the Indian games, you will see full houses, and like that's where it'll end. But the question here is whether the board will allow it. I really don't think so. But then this topic comes up every 2 years, 3 years, because people are looking to make more and more, because money attracts more money. So that's exactly what they are trying to do. But I don't think, I mean, the world really needs a Champions Trophy. This is not football, which has a mass appeal. Here you have the same names playing everywhere, and a lot of these people will travel. Then you'll have some Pakistanis playing somewhere, and then there will be visa issues and blah blah stuff. And I mean, it is not so easy. There'll be so many political issues also, seeping in. So not easy.
Yes, sir. Then coming to the T20 World Cup is approaching very soon.
Yeah.
But do you think this small gap between IPL is enough for the players, to come
Oh
out of?
yeah. Yes, I think it's enough, because people are reaching at least 10 days ahead of the World Cup, at least a week ahead for sure. And since it's a league cup knockout, I mean, the initial phase, the kind of teams that you are likely to face. I'm talking about the strong teams here, the serious contenders, and they know they are going to move into the next stage. So it'll be like a number of practice games. Of course, you do have official practice games as well, but what you see in the first phase is like India playing, say, Ireland and USA, and of course Pakistan. But 2 out of 3 matches, you're going to win it, because of this of the sheer difference in the strength of the teams involved. So you don't have to, you really don't require acclimatization, because the games in the Caribbean, you don't need so much of acclimatization. Yes, US a little bit, but again, strong versus weak teams. So what we are talking about is, if the strong team just plays to its strengths, the weaker team in this case will be wiped out. So such is the difference between, say, India and USA. So there you are really not concerned. You'll just go out there, take it like a serious practice, get your runs, spend time in the middle. Uh, so that you're going to post a total. If you bat first, USA is not going to come anywhere close to it. And if you're chasing down, you can finish the match in a hurry.
Yes, sir. And the last question for the day. So we are seeing overseas players coming and playing the Indian Premier League from different parts of the world, but
Yeah.
we don't see Indians going and playing other leagues.
Yeah.
If not for the money, because money is already there in the Indian Premier League, but just to be familiar with the other conditions of the other countries and for cricket purposes. So, do you think the Indian players should also play other leagues?
See, if you encourage Indians to go out, you see the amount of cricket that India plays. And Indian board is very clear that we don't want to risk injuries to our players. That's why they're paid so well. So money apart, what you're saying is, you have a great point, Maitreya, that this will also give an opportunity for our players to go and play in those conditions. Yes, absolutely true. But the point here is, when the board is calling the shots, board knows what it is doing, because board will see it from their point of view, and the kind of investment that it makes in keeping the players fresh for the international challenges, instead of letting individuals go out, not represent the country. They are going to just go there and make some extra bucks. But the problem here is that, irrespective of whether the players are keen or not, the board says no, because we are already giving you X amount. You are under a certain contract, and you have assured income. So don't run after extra money. We know you're good. We are taking care of you. There is a rotation policy. So there are so many things involved. So if you let the Indian players go, then you will then have to say that, okay, we can't let the top 15 or the top 20 players leave. But then once you invite that, that means player number 21 onwards, if you have a core group of, say, 30, that means player number 21 to player number 30 will go out and play, and then that can also cause heartburning across. So you don't want that kind of a situation where some people are asked not to go because they form the creamy layer of Indian playing 11, and the others who are still at the fringe can go and play franchisee cricket, because then the question that you're asking, that doesn't get answered in the way that you want, because the problem remains. If player number 21 and 30 are getting the exposure, they are not going to make the playing 11 for India. So what is the point of having those guys being sent there? So the policy of the board is pretty clear that we don't want our players to get injured or fatigued. We look after you well, so stay at home, give your best for the country.
Yes, sir. So thank you for joining, sir, today.
Thank you,
And
Maitreya, for the opportunity. It's always fun to be with you guys. Thank you so much.
thank you.